In this video we'll show a workflow of exporting clothes from Marvelous Designer in OBJ format with baked textures, and then importing them into the uDraper plugin. We're also going to show how to use the wrapping functionality to connect imported clothes to the avatar mesh. References to relevant previous tutorials are listed in the description. Let's start in Marvelous Designer and import our MetaHuman Character Collider mesh. In this example we are going to use this free outfit sample with a pair of jeans, a top, and a jacket. Let's start with the jeans and simplify the design to avoid double layers. So we are going to remove the double layers from the belt pieces and simplify the pockets. Let's increase the particle distance from 5 to 14 mm to lower the number of vertices per garment. Also, decrease the avatar skin offset from the default 3 mm to 0.3 mm. Then we need to fix the sewing for the belt pieces and the pockets. We are going to remove the button and the rivets because we cannot import them as cloth from an OBJ file. After draping the jeans, we are ready to export a couple of OBJ files with baked textures, so we can preserve the top stitches. For the first OBJ file, we keep the UV map within the first quadrant. It is absolutely essential to make sure there's no buttons, zippers or other 3D assets selected in the graphics and trims list. We keep the single object, weld, thin, and unified UV coordinates options selected. We also select diffuse and normal maps to be exported. Since we're baking the texture, let's increase the texture size to 4096 but not larger. Select the Save with Texture Files option. Click OK, navigate to your zip file, and extract it. For the second OBJ export, reset UV to 2D arrangement. Select a different file name. Uncheck the diffused and normal maps, and Save with Texture Files options. Click OK to export the second file. Let's switch to Unreal Engine and import these jeans. Here we have our MetaHuman character with the Draper components configured. We select the Draper garment component for the jeans and click the Import button. Select the first OBJ file we've just exported. Then select the second OBJ file as patterns. Optionally, select a location for the imported 3D garment files and click Import. The jeans are now imported. However, in this example, their position and orientation are incorrect. To fix this, we can use transforms to position the garment more accurately on the avatar, although it doesn't have to be perfect. Now if we click play, the simulation starts, and the garment will be redraped. While running the simulation, we can now save the garment in the Draper editor panel. The garment will now be saved along with the new wrapping information. We can now turn the wrap option on and remove the transforms that we use for the garment positioning. The wrap will now remember how the garment was draped around the avatar's collider mesh. Wrapping can be handy when you want to change the avatar pose. The garment shape will change with the avatar's pose when the cloth simulation is not running. Without wrapping, the clothes stay in its original position and all the animations must start from the same pose. Also, wrapping is useful when we prepare the sequencer and checking the animations without running the simulation. Without the wrapping, the clothes won't move from its original position without the simulation. Let's quickly adjust some fabric's properties for the materials in our garment. For instance, you may want to set up non-zero thickness and bias values. Don't forget to save the material. You may want to make the belt material thicker and more rigid as well as bind it to the avatar. Adjusting parameters for the belt loops. We can now use the Draper attachment component to add a button and rivets to the jeans. A reference to the previous Draper attachment component tutorial is listed in the description. Add the Draper attachment component to your Draper garment. Add the static mesh component and select a button as a static mesh. Move the Draper attachment component with the button to its place on the jeans belt. You can also want to rename, rotate, and scale the static mesh component as you see fit. Let's repeat the same steps for a rivet. Then duplicate the rivet attachment to create and position another one. Now we can quickly export the tank top from Marvelous Designer. We are only going to export one OBJ file for the tank top without textures. So we need to reset UV to 2D arrangement in the UV editor before exporting. In the Unreal Editor, we add another Draper garment to the Draper simulation component and import our tank top. Adjust the fabric properties to your liking and save the materials. The last garment we want to export is this leather jacket with a logo on the back. Again, we want to bake the logo into the textures. So, we'll need to export two OBJ files. The first file should have a normalized UV map, the second should have the UV map matching 2D patterns. For the normalized UV map, let's position the pieces into the first quadrant. Select the patterns for the jacket and call the Export OBJ Selected menu command. Again, we keep the single object, weld, thin, and unified UV coordinates options selected. We also select the maps that we want to export. Select the Save with Texture Files option. Once more, we must make sure there is no buttons, zippers or other 3D assets selected in the graphics and trims list. However, we want to keep graphics option selected. Click OK. Navigate to your zip file and extract it. For the second OBJ export, reset UV to 2D arrangement. Select a different file name. Uncheck the diffused and normal map. Uncheck the zipper from the graphics and trims list. Click OK to export the second file. In the Unreal Editor, we add another Draper garment to the Draper simulation component and import our jacket OBJ files. Again, we see that the jacket orientation and position require some adjustments. We also need to use the same character pose that was used for the garment draping. Let's click play to start the simulation. Redrape the jacket. And save the jacket in the Draper Editor panel. The jacket is now saved with the wrapping information, and we can turn the wrap on and reset the transforms. All we need to do now is to adjust the fabric properties for the jacket. Thickness, binding, we also want to make the fabric look more like a leather by adjusting the Fresnel settings. Finally, adjusting the fabric properties for the rib parts. That's all there is to it. Now we are ready for animation.